It's really nice to have worked with them. I've been listening to them ever since I was a very young boy. Ever since I started playing guitar, I was listening to Derek and Warren's stuff. So to turn from them being my heroes to becoming my peers, and being friends of mine was really a crazy, ride. It was really intimidating to be working with him, but at the same time very rewarding and very humbling. It was just a phenomenal experience to work with the both of them.
I see.
I grew up listening to a lot of country western with my grandfather, as well as a lot of blues that my father was introducing me to. B.B. King, Freddie King, and Albert, all the three Kings, Robert Johnson, and Jeff Beck, Robin Trower, Hendrix, of course, and Clapton. There were just so many guitar players out there that I was listening to every day. Duane Allman and Dickie Betts, and just I had just at my fingertips so many different guitar players that I could listen to every day. And it wasn't until later that I started singing that these vocalists that accompanied these guitarists had inadvertently influenced my singing.
Yeah.
So all the guitar players I had been listening to later on influenced my vocals as well.
Can you speak about your technique guitar, rhythm and playing?
Growing up, I never really had a very particular technique of playing. I learned with a pick, and I always used small picks, and I would play with them, and then I would switch and use my fingers, And it really depended on which guitar player I was listening to at that time. Like I'd listen to Danny Gatton, and I would use my fingers, and do more of the finger picking style. And then I would listen to like Hendrix or like Warren Haynes, and then hear the pick, and I'd use the pick, So it really depended on who I was listening to. And other techniques, it wasn't until I was in high school that I started studying jazz theory, where I really got more of an understanding of what it was that I was already doing. The vocabulary that I already had and got kind of put a name to it, I had more knowledge about what I was already doing and further increased the knowledge of it.
Can you play the main riff of Virginia? Show us,
yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So live, we always do like a swell with it, This one had a lot of influence from Lynyrd Skynyrd. A lot of Ed King's guitar riffs that he had come up with the band in the early 70s was kind of the idea behind this song here.
Can you play it again more slowly, please?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Thanks.
So you're coming in from, you're sliding in from like an F position to a G, and it's kind of a bouncing motion, and I'm using my fingers on this one between the D and the G string and the low E. Like the old country stuff like that.
Another band,
Yeah.
Another one, if you can play the intro of Radio Soldier, the main riff.
Radio Soldier. This is one that I did with a pick.
Yeah.
I really don't know where it came from. It was just one day. It was just something I was fooling around with, and I came up with the chorus part first. So I'm doing like a F13, but I'm taking that off there, and just kind of. Turn around. Giving it that very kind of open feel to it, you know. And the main riff is the. So you gotta.
More slowly.
So you're kind of arpeggiating in a way the B minor 7. Then you got a G7, then an E minor. And when you come back to it,
It's great.
thank you, thank you.
Another one, Jealous Man, the intro.
Oh, the Jealous Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Please.
so I'm doing kind of a bouncing thing there with my pinky and my ring finger.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a,
Yes.
you know, so. You got the G7, A minor 7, and I put the 9 up there at the top. This walk down. I got a D sus that'll put the
Yes.
B on the top as well. I just think it adds a little flavor, you know.
Yes. One more time, more slowly, please.
Yeah, you got it. That's the outro as well. And then on the verses, you gotta. It's kind of the same groove, but to a B minor 7, to A minor. That'd be the outro here. Yeah, sometimes I'll do it up there, give it more of a fuller body and let it ring out a little bit longer.
Can you show us the chord?
Sure.
Yes. And after, how you improvise, how you think, the
Okay.
relation between chord and for you improvisation. You understand?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So on this particular one, over the over the improvisational part, we have 8 bars of C minor. That's the bass, you know, and then you got F minor 7 to an E flat major, G minor to an A flat major. That repeats. And kind of the turnaround is an F minor, E minor, D major, D flat major, sorry, G7 with a flat 9, then back to 1. Sometimes we'll do it as a sus, you know, take the 9 off. And then improvising over that, I use a lot of the like the minor pentatonic and the Dorian mode, and as well as trying to incorporate like the flat 5. So over that I do like a and then over this well. Over that I really like to get the all that kind of the diminished style kind of thing. So that's really what I'm doing over that, and I always like to tease the Donna Lee. I like to tease that in there. Whenever I'm playing over like a minor 1, I like to take it out a bit and do some of the stuff that Scofield. This is something that I picked up over Scofield. Going up to the so you're doing a major pentatonic of the flat 3. So you're doing an E flat major pentatonic. So that's always a lot of fun to do. I guess that's about the bulk of what I do on that particular tune. That one's just a really fun one, especially for the horns. The horns really cut loose on that one a lot. You know, we have a good time with that one live. I was really happy to be able to put this one on the record because it's kind of a representation of the experimental instrumental stuff that we do live. But I never thought it would make the album, so I was really happy. I wrote this one when I was studying jazz performance at Fine Arts Center in my home state of South Carolina. I wrote this one for a project, and later, I guess like 3 or 4 years later, I was able to record it.
crazy.
something like that.
It's like Hear My Train I Coming to Jimi Hendrix, you know.
Oh, Jimi Hendrix. Oh,
Yeah,
Hear My Train
very
A-Coming, yeah.
Please, can you play slowly, please?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's a joke. It's a joke for Max. Now you can you speak about your gear?
But my gear, yeah.
Have you used pedals?
I
You
don't.
just play-
I don't really like to. For me personally, as a player, I feel I get distracted if I have too many options, you know, and I'll start to. My mind will start to wander from the real point, which is just to play. So I like to have as little as possible or necessary for me to perform. So I use a tube screamer on top of the Super that I use really as a power attenuator, and I put it at about 7 o'clock, you know, just barely up. And depending on the guitar I'm using, the gain will vary, but it'll be around 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, you know, up there. And that way I can crank the amp, so I can get the full distortion from the tubes and the speakers in the Super. And I'll use a Crybaby wah pedal, because just like you mentioned, Hendrix before, Hendrix and Frank Zappa as well, and Clapton all really inspired me to start using the wah pedal. And I've always found it a very important pedal in a pedal board, you know, for a guitarist, because it really just allows you to express yourself a little bit further, you know, a little bit angrier, you dig? And that's why I like the wah pedal. But those are really the only two pedals I use.
And your amp?
At home, it's a 65 Fender Super Reverb Blackface and a 50 watt, or a 100 watt Marshall head and a 412 Marshall cabinet. And I run them stereo, so I can get the dry signal from the Marshall and the reverb, the wet signal from the Super.
And your guitar? What you use?
Well, for the longest time, I was using my SG that I found in a bookstore somewhere when I was 11. Middle of nowhere, I found that guitar, and I fell in love with it. So I used it for a number of years, and I still use it as my backup guitar. But I was using my grandfather's 345. It's a 62 Gibson 345, and I just recently received from Gibson a newer model of that guitar, so I don't have to have the liability of having mine on the road, you know, traveling so much and flying. It becomes a little scary traveling with it, because it's got so much sentimental value to me. My drummer, Jack Ryan, we met around 4 years ago. I went into a club that he was playing with a band called Ray John and the Cosmic Rebellion. So I walked in and I was like, oh man, I got to see this cat. So walked in and saw this drummer, and he was just wailing, you know, just no mercy, just going to town. And I was like, that's my drummer. I just saw my drummer for the first time. And later on he told me that we had met before, but I didn't remember that. But I guess it took me seeing him play to really, you know, say, oh man. So we started playing together, and we've been playing together ever since. And then after that, we went and did our first record. And shortly after its release, our bass player and organ player at the time both split, you know, and quit, as you do upon the release of your first record. So they quit, but, you know, as they say, we're still good friends. So it was at that time that Jack and myself, we decided, well, we're going to have to find a bass player. So we went to a venue where a friend of ours was playing, and he had this bass player with him who just had this very thunderous sound, you know, very percussive player, you know, but also just the power of somebody that would play with a pick, like Barry Oakley. So he had like this Rocco Prestige kind of, you know, versatility, but he also had the sounded like a Jack Bruce or like a Barry Oakley, and it was Stephen Campbell. So I went to my friend and I said, we really like your bass player quite a bit. He's a great bass player. He said, well, I'm moving, you know, because he was going to Boston, Massachusetts to attend Berklee School of Music. And I said, well, can we have your bass player? And he said, yeah. So Stephen was in the band before he knew it. And then around the same time, our organ player was moving back from California to South Carolina, and he needed a gig, so he joined. And I had always admired his playing. He'd always had the intensity of like Keith Emerson, and like the dexterity, and it was really just a full sound that he brought, and I always wanted to work with him due to the nature of his playability and his skill level, and also his sense of just, what's the word I'm looking for? He's a well-seasoned veteran musician, on the road. I guess that's nice way of saying he's an older guy. But Justin Johnson, our trumpet player, he had been playing with us off and on, and he was just finishing up his college degree. When he finished, he joined full time. Then I'd say a year from then is when we met Dean Mitchell, our saxophone player, for the first time, and he played with us. And I remember the first gig we all did together was in Asheville, North Carolina, and I looked around and I said, "Well, this is it, this is the lineup," and that's the one that we did this last record with, and that's the one that people are going to be seeing for the next many years to come,
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
And for ending, Marcus, what do you think about this French guitar?
Oh, I love it.
McCaffrey style.
I love it.
it.
It's a gift for you.
Is it? Yeah? Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Merci. I'll be going now. Yeah. No, I like it a lot.